with fall quickly approaching and my show in September, I thought it would be fun to make a few ghosts to include in my sale. So I whipped these two up and thought it would be fun to do a little tutorial. They're a great beginner project. They don't take much wool, and I think they're a lot of fun, and you can really change them up how you do them. So stay tuned and we will see how to make a little ghost. Hi friends, this is Dawn from Chicken Run Creations. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to work on making this little ghost here. I was making a few of these for my show next month and thought they're a nice, quick and easy little project, great for a beginner. So I thought we would make a ghost, show you how to do that. Doesn't take much material. It's pretty easy to do, and like you can really jazz them up any way you want. This one I added a little hat to. His face is a little funky, but he ended up being a little bit taller. So, you know, you can really change up how they look, and there's no right or wrong when it comes to a little ghost, right? So let me show you what you will need to start with. I'm not sure how much I have here, but my little ghost weighed about 9 grams, so you'll need about 9-10 grams of white core, sliver, whatever you got. This is, I'm not sure, this is a really white core. I used this in my last video as well. Has a little bit of a debris in it, but it's not too bad. If you don't have a really white core wool, you can use an off-color white and then cover it with some top coat. It'll just take you a little bit longer to make. So I have just a little bit of orange here to make a pumpkin. I'm not going to show you how to make a pumpkin. Well, I'm not going to show you how to make the ball. It's just a simple ball. I won't do that. I'll show you how to add the little lines and the little stem to it, but just to save time, I've already made the ball, so that's there. Just a little bit of black. If you want to make a hat like I did on the one, you'll need a little bit more than I have here, but basically you just need some black for the eyes and the mouth, or you can substitute in glass eyes if you prefer to go that route. Just a smidgen of green for the stem. For this project, I just used a needle and a thread to do the lines on the pumpkin, so I just have some green thread here. So we'll just put that aside for the moment. Scissors. I found using the disappearing ink pen helps mark out where you want your eyes and your mouth to go. You don't need it. It's an added bonus. My multi-tool here, 5 needles. I like this for doing the bottom, to get it just quick work on doing that. Obviously you don't need to have that to do it. You can just use your needle, or you can use, if you have you know, this multi-tool here, the pen, you can do that. I just found that this makes it go a little faster. I have on hand this to also do it, which keeps it from sticking to the wool, but again, not necessary to do this project. I have 3 needles out. I have where's my list here? I have a 28 triangle, a 38 triangle. I have a 40 triangle. I have a 42 triangle. And I will use all of those. Obviously, use what you got. It's a pretty forgiving project. So we're going to start with making our little ghost, and I'm just going to take some of this wool here. I'm probably going to need more. What I'm looking for is to have a nice rounded head and have the bottom of his body to come out a little bit. Now added to this after I just made like a cylinder, and then I added to the bottom once I kind of got it fairly felted in. And then this is just a flat piece that I attached some more wool on to kind of make it nice and even all the way around. So we're going to work on the body part first here, and we'll see if I have enough. It looks about wide enough. This is probably 2 inches. Let's see here. 1, 2, about 3 inches. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll it really tight, and I'm going to tuck in the ends a little bit as I'm rolling. If you have any debris, that's going to get covered up, so I'm not going to worry about it. But just kind of getting caught on my sheet here. Should have put a new sheet on. Just kind of roll it in nice and tightly. And then I'm just taking my 38 triangle and just going to kind of tack it down a little bit here. Tuck in the ends. By the way, I have a new phone mount to record with. It has a little ring light, so let me know how it looks. Hopefully it doesn't jiggle around too much because it's just sitting on my desk where my other one was attached to a shelf above my desk, so hopefully it doesn't get too jiggly. So I'm just going to pick one end here to be the head, and I'm going to round. So you can see I'm just kind of going, making it rounded. And then the other end will be flat. Not going to do a lot there yet because we definitely need to add some more wool to this unless you want a really skinny ghost, which the plumper ghosts are cuter, I think. So I'm just going to kind of start to form this. Alright, let's get another piece here. Kind of spread this out a little bit. Since I want it to be a little bit bigger at the base, I kind of like the shape of this here. So I'm just going to kind of roll that on. Like so. And just get it tacked in here. That's looking pretty good. So you're going to want to work this pretty good. Just because, I mean, you don't really have to do anything else to it except for, you know, adding your arms and your face to it. So you're going to want to felt it pretty well. So once you get the size that you want, you're just going to felt it down really good. I'm not sure if I want this to be a little bit bigger. Flatten this bottom. Now you can do it without arms. When I was kind of searching the internet for some samples, I think most of them had some kind of arm. You could make a little sign. One of the ones that I saw had a little bat on a stick that he was holding. So there's a lot of ways that you could do it. You can make your ghost, instead of having the bottom like this, you could kind of make it go off to the side. There's a lot of different ways that you could do it. Just kind of look around and see what you can find. Okay, let's see here. It's a little taller, but can poke this down a little bit more, I think. Nice thing about this is he doesn't necessarily have to stand because you're going to attach him to the base, which will help him to stand more. Alright, let's get this top nice and rounded. Again, you're going to poke in the direction you want the wool to go. So you can see here I'm going horizontal to the wool, and as I go down, I'm kind of going at an angle until I'm perpendicular. Guess that's more parallel, not horizontal. I'm poking horizontally. But yeah, so and the sides I'm going probably more to 45-degree angle. Again, always remember to pull your needle out in the same direction you put it back in. Don't bend your needle, because then it'll break. So straight up and down, or if you're going to go at an angle, go in, come out at the same angle that you went in. Okay, I think he needs to get a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this around the bottom. Yep, got some gunk in here. Still using my 38 triangle. And then I'm gonna I need to get another piece here. Hold on. And I'm gonna take just a little bit here and grab my pad, and I'm just gonna kind of felt a little bit in the center here. It's not very thick. And I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna go over the top of his head. I could have felted the part that I want around the base too. All right, I'm gonna spend a couple minutes here just firming this up a little bit more. And then I will come back, and I think it's gonna be chubby enough, so I won't really need to add too much more. So let me take a few minutes and firm this up. I might grab my clover tool here, my pen, to make this go a little bit faster. And then I'll be back in a few minutes and we'll go from there. Okay. Alright, let's make the base for our little guy here. So I'm just taking a kind of a round piece of wool here. Need to add a little bit more to it. This one I did, the base is a little too big, so I'm gonna try and not go too big with this one. So I'm just gonna take my multi-tool here, and I'm gonna kind of stab around the middle. Get an idea of how big I want it to be. Alright, and I'm just going to fold these floofy ends in. If you don't get your fingers in the way. Let's see, how's that? That's pretty good. I don't want it to be too big. So I'm just going to take a couple minutes here and stab it a few times on both sides. Need to get some kind of brush or something that I can clean this out with. This multi-tool really makes fast work of doing this, and it doesn't stick with the brush here. It doesn't stick as much as it does to the pad, and there should be a link below for this multi-tool on Amazon if you're interested in it. Like I've said before in other videos, I mean, I've only had this for a few months, so I went quite a while before I actually bought one. Okay, I'm just going to take my finger guards next, and I'm just going to kind of go around. I'm going to use my 40 triangle and just clean up the sides. So I don't want it to get too much smaller, so I'm just very gently poking around the outside edge, and then I'm kind of going between the wool and my finger guards. Now this doesn't have to be perfectly round. I think it looks better if it's kind of wonky shaped. Just kind of, I think it gives it a better appearance than if it were to be perfectly round. So I didn't really worry too much about how rounded it was. You can see all those little wools in there. I'm trying to just kind of tack them down. If you don't have finger guards, you can use 2 pieces of cardboard. Or you can be a brave soul and do it without, but I would have pretty bloody fingers if I were to do that. But I mean, hey, it's a ghost, so, right? Yeah, I don't think people would want your blood on their project. I think I got all the way around. Oops. Okay. You can obviously spend a little bit more time working that so it's good and smooth. Use your smaller needles. But for the sake of time, I think that's pretty good. All right, I'm gonna take your ghost here and we're gonna stick it on the base, turn it upside down, and just kind of make sure that I'm pretty much centered here. You don't necessarily have to be centered, you could be off to the side. I'm gonna go to my bigger needle, my 38 here, and just stab this right down onto the ghost. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna spend quite a bit of time stabbing this on. We are gonna wrap it a little bit around the base to secure it more, but just stab this in really, really good. I think this took me, I don't know, maybe 2, maybe 3 hours when I made the other ones. We'll see how long this takes. We're moving pretty good here, so. Of course, the first one always takes the longest because I've got to work out the details on how I want to make everything, and I made the second one this morning. And it didn't take too long, but I didn't track the time. There. All right, now I just want to go around here just a little bit. You can see I'm stabbing from the body into the base just to kind of reinforce it a little bit more. I did leave some of the edges on the body a little poofy when I was doing the last coat on, so I'm just going to kind of felt those in a little bit. All right, now let me grab some more pieces here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece, just kind of fold it over a little bit here. I'm going to wrap this around the base. So I want it to kind of be a little bit bigger, you know, kind of think of a sheet just kind of draping it out. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to build up around the base a little bit here. Get the bigger needle. And we'll cover up this hard edge here so it's not so noticeable. little bit. I'm just gonna wrap this around where that seam is and smooth that down. Okay, it would take a little bit more time and firm this up a little bit more with my smaller needle, but for time's sake, we're gonna move forward. Okay, so now, so I kind of made like these little folds in here. I'm not gonna do quite as many as I did in this one, but so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take, let's take my bigger needle here, whoops. And I'm just going to take, and first I'm going to kind of indent my base here a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is, you don't want to be, you don't want your ghost to be totally firm yet, because you want to be able to kind of make those little folds. So using your bigger needle, and just kind of go up just a little bit on your ghost, and as you can see I have a little fold there, and we're going to move over just a little bit and do the same thing. Just kind of tuck that in and then just go up the body. Like that. I'll do another one. And I like to do odd numbers. Anytime you're doing like an art project or something like that, odd numbers just are more appealing to the eye than even numbers. So we'll make 5 of these little folds. Not that it really matters, because people aren't going to really be looking at the back side of it, but let's see what I got. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do one more in here. Okay, so then you can take a little bit of time and just kind of smooth those out. If you wanted to, you could take a little bit of wool. Let's see here. Get a little piece here. Just take a little bit of wool and kind of tuck it in there. Just to kind of enhance the fold a little bit. Kind of blend it in with the base here a little bit. Okay, so you like that. Okay, I'll firm that up a little bit more later. All right, now let me see here. Just wondering if I want to make his head a little bit bigger. Let me see if I can stab this down a little bit more. All right, this side here where I want the front, his face to be. It's kind of leaning back. So we'll go here. All right, so this is my front. I'm just gonna, whoops. I'm just gonna stick a pin in there so I can remember where the front of him is. It's stuff flying everywhere here. All right, so let's do his arms next. So I'm gonna have this pumpkin hold, this ghost holding the pumpkin. So I'm just gonna take two little pieces here. They are, what do I got? 1, 2, 3, about 4 inches by probably about 2 inches. And I'm just gonna roll it up really tightly. So I wanna make sure that it's long enough to reach around to hold the pumpkin. This is probably gonna be too long. Let me see. Yeah, can probably go a little bit less than that. I'm gonna roll it again, but I'm just gonna kind of tuck in the ends on one side a little bit. I'll leave the other side fluffy for attaching it. And I'm just gonna tack it down here a little bit and roll up the other one. So I think it's a little bit bigger, but maybe not wound quite as tight. We'll see. All right. So I'm gonna leave this end fluffy to attach it to the ghost. I'm going to stab down on the end of the hand. Just kind of flatten it a little bit. Let's go to a smaller needle here. I want these to get pretty firm, so I'm going to spend a few minutes here and get these nice and tight so they will. And I'm going to sew the pumpkin on the hands just because it holds better than felting it on. But you know, you don't have to necessarily have him holding a pumpkin. You can put it down next to him like I did on the other one. Alright, I think they're both pretty close in size. So, now we'll figure out, make sure that they are close enough to hold the pumpkin. So, about there. So I'm gonna try and just kind of attach them a little bit here in the back to hold them in place. See how they look. I think that's pretty good. All right, so now I'm just gonna kind of firm them down some more here. I'm gonna go right into the arm and take it into the body. Kind of felt this a little flat here. See how it looks. Let's do this side. Alright. I think this guy's needs to come back a little bit. See here. That's pretty good. Alright, so I'm going to take a minute here and really felt this in good, like right along the top into the arm, along the back here, and then we're going to just put a little bit of a covering over it to help hold it in place. Same on this side here. Okay. Alright, I'm just going to take a little bit here. A little bit more than what I need. I'm gonna just go across the back here to kind of cover the seams up a little bit. And this will also help hold the arms in place as well. Okay, just gonna get right up in here. Make sure it's good and firm. Okay, you can spend a little bit more time there working that in. Okay, take my disappearing ink marker here and let me just felt this down a little bit more. It's a little poofy. I don't want his eyes to disappear, so you want to make sure that it's felted pretty good. Alright, so I'm going to mark where I want his eyes to go. There. And there. And we're going to give him a little bit of a smile. Alright, so I'm going to take and just kind of poke in where I want his eye to go. Just a little bit. Now I'm going to take my black, and as we've done before, just going to kind of break this up a little bit. I'm going to get 2 equal pieces of wool and kind of roll them in your fingers, make some balls. Obviously, if you want to do glass size, you can do the glass size. I'm just going to kind of drop them there, make sure they look to be about the same size, make sure his eyes are where I want them to be. I'm going to put them in that little indentation there and just kind of stab it in until I get the size that I want them to be. I'll do the other one here too. I like to work them both at the same time so I get them the same size. So depending on how big you want your eyes to be. You just keep poking it in. I don't want them too big. If you want them smaller, just kind of work around the outside and poke it down. And I'm just going to kind of smooth out around the eyes a little bit so they don't get lost. Okay. Then I'm going to take a thin piece. I'm just going to kind of roll it in my fingers here. It's longer than what we need. And I kind of want a little half smile. So I'm just going to poke this in here. Just kind of bring it down a little bit. I'm going to cut off the extra, and I'm just going to poke this in. You can give them an open mouth like I did on my other one. You can give them no mouth. You can really change up the eyes. Can make the eyes more lifelike. There's a lot of different options you can do. There, I like that. All right, it's gonna kind of flatten this down a little bit. Take some scissors and kind of cut off the extra little pieces of black there. Okay, so spend some time firming them up a little bit more. His arms are probably a little too big, but they could definitely be felted down some more. Could definitely work his arm down a little bit more back in here. It's kind of giving him really broad shoulders. But okay, now pumpkin. So this is just a ball of the orange that I took. This is actually the orange, pumpkin orange from my kit. which is available on my website. So I just made a ball, and then all I did was I just took my needle and just kind of made a little indentation here on the top, because that's where the stem is going to go. And to make the little lines to go around the pumpkin, I started to do it with the felt, but because it's so small, it's just easier to do it with a piece of thread. So I'm going to go in at the top, and I'm going to go straight down. Make sure that you're pretty much straight up and down. I'm going to pull it through. Then I'm going to bring my needle back up to the top, go down again. I want to come up about the same spot that I went down first. And this first one is pretty simple. So I'm going to pull it, and I'm just going to pull it just a little bit, just so it makes a little indentation. All right, then I'm going to do it again. And don't worry about the top, because all this is going to get covered with your stem. So do it again, go in the top, down to the bottom, about the same spot, pull it through, and this time I want to move it over. I'm just going to guide it with my thumb here a little bit. And I like to do 5. Again, the odd number thing. But you can do as many as you want. I'm just going to pull it just a little bit so it indents. And I'm going to repeat all the way around. You could use any color thread here. You could use orange, you could use white. I thought the green would look pretty good. There's 3. There's 4. And there's 5. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of take a little bit. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it back up to the top, I think. So I'm going to come in to the top, and then I'm just going to take a little bit in the center here and tie it off like you would when you're sewing. Have a little, yeah, it's just the string, okay. If I get another knot here. Okay, then I'm going to stick it in my pumpkin again, go down to the bottom, and I'm going to pull it pretty tight and cut it off, and then that will just kind of hide it. All right, let's move that out of the way. I'm just going to trim that little piece there. Okay, now to make the stem, I have my green here. I probably don't need all of this. So make my stem, I'm going to take a little piece and I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm just going to kind of stab this down. And I won't need all of this because it's a little pumpkin, so we only need a little stem. So I'm going to stab this really good and make it firm. You could use brown, you could use a lighter green. I just happen to have this green on my desk from another project I was working on, so I'm gonna stab it pretty good. I'm getting white stuck in here. And then take it and roll it in your hands. Oops, come on. Ugh, doesn't want to stay. All right, I'm just gonna flatten the end here. Stab it a little bit more. Okay. Take my scissors and I'm just going to kind of cut that off. And I'm going to stick it there in the hole. Then very carefully, now you want to be careful because your needle will not go through that thread. So you want to make sure that you do this carefully so you don't break your needle. And I'm just going to go all the way around where I'm meeting resistance. I'm moving my needle. And just get it felted in there really good. You can, even if it's a little bit too long, you can take it and stab down from the top. Just don't go too fast here because your needle will hit resistance for the thread and I don't want you to break your needle. So if you feel that resistance, stop. All right. Okay. Then they're pretty good. All right. So there's a little pumpkin. Now I'll take our little guy here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch out for some white thread. Should have just had a needle ready for this because I'll see if I can actually see to thread it. Okay. So I'm going to tie it off at the end. All right. So now let me figure out how I want him to hold this. So I'm just going to go in through his arm here and then straight through the pumpkin. I'll make sure I get it fairly straight across. And then into his other arm. Okay. Pull it so it's pretty secure. And then we're going to go back through and hopefully I can get through all of these. I need to, oops, I caught the knot there. There we go. Arms could definitely be a little bit firmer. All right. So I'm going to go through it again. Okay. And then I'm going to tie it off. So I'm just going to catch some wool here and make a couple knots. Then I'm going to take it and I'm going to bring it through the arm. Take my scissors and just do a little snip back here. That disappears. Then you can take a little bit of wool and just cover up where you were sewing that in here. And I just find sewing the pumpkin on holds it better than just needle felting it on, especially because it's so small. And we'll do the same on this side just to cover up where the thread was. And there we go. Have our little See how he looks compared to this guy. He's a little bit taller, not quite as chunky, but I'll probably go through and see how this is pretty smooth down here. I'll probably go through and kind of clean this up a little bit down there. Just so it doesn't look like, I mean, it kind of looks like it's kind of folded up there, which is kind of neat. But so yeah, so make yourself a little ghost for Halloween or your fall decorating. They're cute, pretty simple to make, and they don't take a whole lot of time. I'm interested to see how long this actually took. I think I must have used a different color green for the stem there. I have a couple different greens on my desk here. So, but yeah, so make yourself a pumpkin. Yeah, pumpkin, a ghost. Pop on over to Facebook if you're on Facebook to needle felting instructions and tutorials or something along those lines. There's a link down below, and if you make a little ghost, share them in our Facebook group. Join in on our conversations. We have lots going on over there, some really good people sharing what they've learned and helping others. So yeah, so there's your why do I keep on saying your pumpkin? There's your little ghost. If you take a minute and hit that subscribe button down below, that would help me out a lot. Like, share, let me know what you think. Maybe what you'd like to see coming down the line, what other projects you'd like to see with the holidays coming. So yeah, so there you go. So have yourself a good day, happy felting, and we will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.